Welcome everyone to the Group Frequency Calibration on clarifying surrender. So this is an introductory GFC because there's a lot of resistance around surrender often. So for those of you for whom control or fear is a challenge for you, likely you will need to go deeper and avail yourself of a deep dive or deeper work on this particular topic. So, beginning as always by becoming aware of your body. And as you become aware of your body, becoming aware of the back side of your body from your waist all the way down to the backs of your heels. Now, depending on whether you are sitting, standing, or lying down, as you notice this back part of the body, if you're bearing weight on this part of the body, noticing things like the spread of your skin and your flesh, the weight as it sinks into whatever is supporting you. And if you're standing, noticing this back part of the body and the air that is touching it. Noticing the tension in this part of the body as it helps to keep you upright. Good. And now noticing your heartbeat. So if this is something that you're not familiar with doing in terms of your awareness or your focus, you can put your physical hand over your physical heart and feel your heartbeat that way. For those of you who are more experienced or who can project your awareness in a different way, you're going to feel your heartbeat in your chest. Now, neither of these things is better. It's just different. Okay, we're all different people and we all perceive in different ways. So just noticing your heartbeat, either through your felt sense or through your physical sensation. And as you become aware of your heartbeat, noticing it as it echoes through the body. Now, if you can't notice it, imagine it. Good. And then please become aware of your breath. Noticing it as it is in this moment without altering it at first. How is your breath right now? Noticing if your impulse is to make it better, correct it, do something different with it. Notice if you can just be with it and notice it. And once you have noticed your breath for a couple of breaths, taking the opportunity when you're ready to slow the breath down. To allow it to deepen. And to take up more room in the body. Now, we typically think of our breath as a certain direction. So meaning as we're inhaling or exhaling, we often think of it as in front of us or behind us. But starting to imagine or become aware of your breath expanding and contracting in all directions. So becoming spherical. Above you, below you, front and back, and to the sides. Yeah. Good. And now please become aware of your surroundings. So at first, just noticing the feeling of the air against your skin. Noticing if the air is heavier and damp, or if it's light and dry. Noticing its temperature, its movement, if there is any, against your skin. And then please become aware of the soundscape around you, both on your end and on my end. And for those of you more experienced, as you become aware of these layers of sound, noticing their relative distance, so the sounds that are further away in the distance, the sounds that are closer to you, perhaps more constant, that you may not notice. Good. And then when you're ready, please triangulate. And for those of you who are new, you will need to blink your eyes open. And you're going to identify 3 inanimate objects in the space around you. What those objects are is not important. What you will notice is the distance between each object and you, and then you're going to feel that distance. So for example, if the door is about 4 feet away from you, you would feel the distance between the door and you after you observe the distance of 4 feet. Okay, so observing the distance between the object and you, and then feeling that distance. And you'll find as you do this for each object that your sense of where you are in space clarifies, becomes more in focus, becomes more present for you. Good. Bringing your attention now, please, to your heart space, but on the back side of your body. Okay, so most of us will think of our heart space in front of us. But if you put a tube right through your chest and on the back side of your body, where that tube would come out, bringing your attention there. Breathing normally when you arrive here. We're going to take one nice, big, juicy breath together. Inhaling. Holding your breath for a count of 4. And after You've held your breath for that 4 count, releasing the breath with the speed and intensity you prefer, holding your breath out at the bottom of your breath for a count of 6. Whenever you have completed that single breath, please breathe normally. And whilst you complete that single breath, please know that we are waiting for the mastermind to coalesce and to become coherent. And while we wait for that, please know that I am working on you at the group and the subgroup level, and that I often work in silence. So if you don't hear me, I haven't gone anywhere. It's just when the frequencies I'm working with are very high, it doesn't benefit you for me to make physical sound. I also do make physical sound, so you may hear me yawn or hum or exhale sharply, and that's typically how I release the heavier, denser distortion patterns. Not always, but often. And also, if I say something that resonates with you, it's likely a distortion pattern that you carry or that you have running through you. And if I say something and you really resist it, it's also likely a distortion pattern that's running through you. So I invite you to remain open and to examine further. Bringing your attention now to the front side of your heart space, in the center of your chest in your nipple line. We're going to, now that the mastermind has coalesced, ask ourselves the following question. How can I become even more aware of my connection only to pure source? And for those of you who are new, that question again is, how can I become even more aware of my connection only to pure source? And as you ask that question, please imagine, sense, feel, or become aware of the very center of your body. And as you become aware of this incredibly vast space, becoming aware of or imagining a brilliance that you either see or feel at its very center. And this brilliance starts to get brighter and intensify because you have your attention on it. And as it intensifies, it very naturally expands out in all directions through your cells, through your organs, through your bones, your flesh and your muscles, and out through the pores of your skin into the space between your physical body and the outer edge of your spirit body, which is a sphere at arm's length all around you. Please become very aware of the brilliance within the sphere. And now, please become aware of the space all around the sphere. And as you become aware of this infinite space, pulling your frequency resonance up, irrespective of where it began. How high your frequency resonance is dictates everything from how you perceive your reality, what your reality looks like, how much momentum you can gain on spirit level, and how quickly you integrate. So, this is one of the most important things we do together. Good. Bring your attention to your heart space in the center of your chest and your xiphoid process right at the base of your sternum. Your sternum is that big, thick bone in the center of your chest where your ribs meet in front of your body. And if you trace the length of it to its base, where it becomes flesh, and is a little tender when you press on it, that is your xiphoid process. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to release is, depending on what subgroup you're in, the fear of resistance to or worry about surrender. Okay. For some of you, it even makes you, this is a smaller subgroup where there's even anger. You don't want to. It's like you're being forced. So to be clear, the surrender of which I'm speaking is surrender only to your higher self and pure source. Nothing else. Certainly not to me. You're only surrendering to those two things. So it's really yourself, and then an aspect of you is the divine. Okay? So that's what we're releasing the distortion pattern around, to be extremely clear. And also releasing this discomfort frequency, which exists from another subgroup. Good. Yep. Bring your attention to the heart space, right in the center of your chest and your nipple line. So we're releasing two things. Okay. One is the fear of the unknown with regards to surrender. Once we start to surrender from strength, things start to change and we have very little control over those things. We don't have control anyway. It's an illusion. However, we're aware that we have no control, which can be scary. Okay. And the second is the fear of loss, of what is known, of relationships as they stand, of just the way we keep things fixed in the world to make us feel safe and comfortable and certain. It's an illusion, but we create it anyway. So releasing this. Good. Yep. Becoming aware of the center point of your solar plexus, which is between your belly button and the base of the sternum. This has to do with the mind spin of how do I do that, and the self-doubt, the fear of failure, all those mind chattery things. Releasing these. So these are the first layers to be removed. And now when you bring your attention to your xiphoid process, and about 3 inches or 7 centimeters just beneath it, we're going to clear out your pain body. It only takes a couple of seconds, but your pain body has memory of you before the distortion patterns were released. So just clearing out and resetting this to help speed and smooth your integration. Good. This brings us to the end of this session. I look forward to working with you on the next GFC. It's my sincere hope that you benefit profoundly from this series, which is why I spend so much of my time and personal resources creating these as my gift to the world. If the topic of this GFC resonates with you, it's very likely that more work than can be provided in this one GFC is needed to clear or loosen deeply held distortion patterns in areas that are sticky. Because these patterns are like layers of an onion, usually there are multiple layers to individual topics. Depending on how much of a challenge this topic is for you, it may make sense for you to go deeper than what this one session allows. If you feel this is the case for you, please visit sphericalluminosity.com for more targeted support.